Whenever it comes to like redoing your story, right? Whenever you're defining your story of yourself, here's the most important step. Forgive yourself. That's the hardest thing most people ever have to go through, is being able to forgive themselves for the things they've done. The first, like when you truly forgive yourself for the mistakes you made in your life, you feel like this freeing feeling, like your life starts over from a new step. Does that make sense? It's the hardest thing you'll ever do. Never going backwards. Never change back. I'll write that down. Never change back. Never go backwards. Going backwards should piss you off. It should piss you off. Like the reason that I don't drink anymore, the reason that I don't do drugs or I don't be a part of any of that is because I get high off this. You know what will give me a really like good feeling is if one of you guys is heavily impacted by something I tell you. That will tell me and that I'm doing God's work, right? So what I want to cover is this. I sat down and I thought, what is the most valuable thing I could teach all of you guys, right? Like, what are some things that no one ever fucking talks about that's like the most valuable shit that any of you guys could go home with? And I thought these are like the 5 things, the 5 like main areas that I really hone in on. There's 5 things that I fucking really go hard at, right? And I'll go through one by one, and then you guys can ask whatever questions you want. But this is everything, every skill. This is the only 5 skills I've focused on for the past 4 years that have taken care of me. And I believe in this generation, I believe it's like the most important shit. So number 1, be mindset, right? And we just gave like a mindset masterclass, right? So hopefully that gave you a little bit of tips on mindset. But I'll tell you about a conversation me and Jaden had, because for those of you who don't know, like me and Jaden, we knew each other back in 2017. I met this dude at my trailer I lived in. When I threw a house party, I had 200-300 people there. Before Andy Elliott seminars, I threw house parties and we all got drunk. That's how we rocked out. But I met him on my front door. I'm a complete loser. I'm like 17 years old. Me and him are both super lost. He ends up getting me into sales. But we were in the car talking a minute ago, and I was like, dude, you know what I'm so grateful for? I'm grateful for this one girl, right? So when I first started dating my girlfriend Gia, who, by the way, right back there, come on. I dated up, okay? I'm a closer, come on. But I got with her 4 years ago, and I was telling Jaden, I said, you know who I'm super grateful for? There was this one chick, I forgot her name, but she was roommates with us, right? Her and Gia lived together. When I first got with Gia, started staying at her place, and eventually, you know, she didn't like me. She was like, Gia, don't be around that guy. He's a loser. He's a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. Well, me and Gia grow close. And then one day, they're splitting rent. We're splitting rent with her and her boyfriend. One day, they disappear. They leave. And all their shit's gone. We still got 6 months on the lease. Me and Gia are like, how are we going to afford this fucking rent? And the girl texts her, and she says, hey, it's all good, but you and your loser boyfriend can have a good life. And at the time, I was selling cars making about $1,500 a month. So she was right, you know what I mean? 6 months later, I'm cashing paychecks for about $20,000 a month selling cars. And I told Jaden, I said, I'm so grateful for that chick. I still think about her today. Literally, I asked Gio when I made my $20,000 a month, I said, you remember that girl 6 months ago that like moved out and told me I was a loser, and I just made her yearly salary in 1 month? And now I make her a decade's worth of her wages in about a month? I still think about her, right? You know who else I think about? I think about my used car manager. Him and her, like, dude, those are my favorite people in the world. Those two, just those two, right? He told me my 6th month in the car business, right around the same time I broke through. He said, dude, you're a fucking loser. You're a piece of shit. You don't belong here. There's a minimum quota of 8 cars this month. You're not going to hit it. You're going to fail. I'm going to fire you. And it's going to be a lot of fun because, you know, I just don't like you. So grateful for that guy, right? Grateful for the first, you know what, I had a heartbreak when I was about 18, 19 years old. I'm so grateful for that. Here's my point. You gotta, the first mindset tip I give anybody is you gotta find a fucking enemy. Find an enemy. And your enemy, you don't have to go get out of here and go murder them. You just burn their fucking eyes out, bro. That's all you do, right? I will never forget it. I told Jaden, I said, dude, I remember everything. That's my secret weapon, is I don't forget anything. I don't forget anything. I remember every person who did me right. I remember every person who did me wrong. And I remember everybody in the fucking middle. And I remember that shit. So like whenever somebody burns me, I'm like, I love you, bro, but I'm gonna remember that shit. When somebody does me right, I'm going to remember that. I'm going to take care of you when it comes around. You know what I mean? I'm a very big relationship guy. If you burn me, we're done. If you're good to me, I will give you anything you want. Me and this dude have one of the greatest relationships ever. Like we've had we've had a life transformational coaching journey together. Like he's changed my life, I've changed his. It's great, right? But find an enemy is number one, because I would be nothing without my enemies, because I needed some friction. You guys understand what I'm saying? I needed to have someone tell me, because I played sports. Anybody play sports? So like I would write this down. Here's another good homework assignment, and we'll cover this later tonight. What drives you? What drives me? Because you guys can learn more about it when we have a conversation about it, right? Like when we talk more about this, the more you open up about it, the more you'll get clarity on it. It may be like us all kind of bouncing ideas off each other or give you some ideas. The reason I'm giving you guys these things because like this is what drives me. So I'm hoping that since we're all around the same age, we're all kind of wanting to head in the same direction. I'll give you the things that drive me, and maybe you can take some things and think about how it applies to your life, right? Yeah. Yes. All right. Good shit. Love it.
Say about a good dinner? No one's talking, right?
Love it. Good dinner. Okay, I'm gonna try to continue to give you guys good dinner. Okay. All right. So next pillar, and this one is sales. So I'll get into a little bit of sales talk. The sauce you came for. I honestly, a guy approached me the other day and he said, dude, how do you become Andy's top sales guy? He said, how much are you selling? I said, dude, I haven't sold shit in 2 years. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, dude, I'm a relationship seller, bro. I don't even feel like I'm selling things. You know, like, and my favorite compliment is when someone's like, dude, you are relational. You are like, you're good about that. You know what I mean? So I'll give you guys some like sales game, some things that like I do that help me. But here's some sales tactics I like to use, okay? Because I'm thinking like you guys are all in different industries. So I'm just gonna give you some general stuff that we use at the LA group that like all of our top guys are using that will work no matter what you sell, right? So I like to do this thing called labeling, right? Where like if I'm selling to Ben, I'm like, Ben, dude, it's awesome talking to you, man. Look, you're fucking jacked, you're a beast. You know, Ben, would you say you're like a fucking grinder and super competitive? And then he says yes. So now he owns it. Now he owned the label. And I go, oh, that's awesome, dude. Well, since you're competitive, let me tell you about XYZ solution, XYZ product, XYZ promotion, right? So how could, like if Mike, let's say Mike's selling a pool, right? Which I don't think you do anymore, but I'm just giving you an example, right? Or solar. You know, Mr. Customer, like you seem like you're you're big on saving money in certain in areas you don't have to be shelling out extra money, so that you can spend more money on things that are important to you, like your family, your kids, things like that. Is that right? Got it, dude. Yeah, man, that's awesome. And since you're like that, since you're super budget conscious and you want to spend more money on your kids, let me tell you about the solar promotion that we got going on. You see what I mean? Like Cullen, he's like, Mr. Customer, you seem like you're a high class dude. Like you worked a lot of your life, you've worked hard, you've earned your money. You seem like you want to you want to be able to express that because you know you've earned everything you have in your life. Is that right? Well, since you do, let me show you a higher class Mercedes because that's what's going to be best for a guy like you. Does that make sense? That's like labeling. I do that all the time, every day. And as long as you have good intentions in sales, you're never screwing people over, right? Like use all this shit with good intentions, you know? Don't be out selling crack with this shit. All right, you look like a crackhead. You know, you'd probably since you're a crackhead, you'd probably like XYZ. You'd probably like this formula I made for you. But okay, next one is rephrasing. So Mike tells me his story, right? Mike tells me his background story. He's like, dude, I had this happen, blah blah blah. I go, Mike, when you tell me XYZ, what I'm hearing is this. I'd write that down. That's the word track. When you tell me this, what I'm hearing is this. So like if I'm on the phone with Titus and I'm like, bro, tell me about yourself. Well, here's how old I am. Here's where I live at. Here's how many kids I got, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, man. So since you told me this, that, how many kids you got, where you live at, all this stuff, what I'm hearing is this. And then you can literally go wherever you want to go from there. Does that make sense? Guys, like tell me about yourself a little bit. Like tell me about family, kids. Like what do you guys enjoy to do? Oh, we like going out hiking. We got 3 kids. You know, I'm 42, my husband's 38. You know, He's a freaking farmer, and I'm a doctor. That's awesome, man. So when I hear you say that, when I hear you talk about, like his career, your kids, your family, what I'm hearing is this. You guys obviously love to take care of your family. So saving money is like something that's probably super important to you, because that every dollar you spend with APS, throwing in the trash can every month, is another dollar you could be putting towards your kids' college, your kids' next vacation trip, things like that. Is that right? You guys see what I mean? See how I'm rephrasing it? See, like I like to, when I sell, I want people to eat out of my hand. I'm not eating out of your hand. That's how I play the game. I never get desperate. That's one thing I'll talk about again later on when I get into this. I'll talk about I never sell from a point of desperation. I strategically position myself in a really good spot financially so that I can't be bribed with money. You guys learning some shit? Let's go. All right, number 3, relationships. This is my favorite one, bro, by far. I love this. I love teaching people how to build great relationships. And you know what? I'll be honest, man. A lot of you guys might say, who feels like they have good relationships? What if I told you you're not good at it? Because if you were, you'd be a millionaire. What would you say? Besides, fuck you. Like, after you got over getting your feelings hurt, you know what I'm saying? So here's what I'll tell you about relationships, right? I cannot stand people who are like givers or takers and not givers. And wealthy people, like the way that wealthy people communicate is through relationships, right? The language of the language that the wealthy speak is like, you give and then I give. You know what I mean? And I learned this lesson like the hard way. I learned this lesson by missing out on probably millions of dollars of Elliott revenue, by talking to Fortune 500 CEOs and going like, come on, big dog, grab the ball sack, just pay the $100,000 to Andy, man, pay the man. And then wondering why when I followed up with that guy, he didn't answer, right? I don't know why, but maybe I did. I think I did something wrong, I guess. But I learned that these wealthy clients, right? When you're talking to a guy about a couple $100 product who's never done sales training before, it's okay to be like, bro, Mike, grab the ball sack. Come on, man. That's okay. Not okay with a guy who makes $100 million a year. It probably won't work, especially if you don't make $100 million a year. You see what I mean? So I had to learn relational selling. And like what I realized is wealthy people play this game, bro. They play this game where wealthy people will test you. Like they want to see you give. You know what I mean? Here's a good test you should ask yourself, right? How many referrals have you sent to other people that you know this year? It's a good question to ask yourself. Like, are you just a referral guy? Referrals are my love language, just so you know. Just so everybody knows that they're my love language. If you want to get close to me, send me referrals. Yeah, I'll freaking love having you out here all the time. But referrals are super important. Like, think about this. Let's say you're thinking to yourself right now, well, I've sent 0 people referrals this year. I've sent 0 referrals. Well, how do you expect anybody to send you referrals, bro? You know what I'm saying? So I immediately, let's say you wanted to get out here and you want to get super rich, right? Here's what you would do. You would go, who do I know that sells sales training? Who do I know that sells, who do I know, what lawyers do I know? What, attorneys do I know? What car salesmen do I know? What roofers do I know? And then you would write that down, you would log all that stuff, and you would say, okay, never again, if I need X service, am I gonna go anywhere else but this guy? And if that guy, like whoever that guy is, if he understands relationships, he'll reciprocate. You guys see what I mean? Like if I send Jaden a referral, as long as he's not stupid, he'll send me a referral back because he knows the game, right? But what a lot of people do is, let's say, like a lot of you guys can probably think of a time where you sold a client, let's say you sold them solar or a car or whatever, and they just called you and they're like, Cullen, you're the greatest. I got my freaking granddaughter coming to see you tomorrow. She's paying cash for a freaking S-Class. And then you're like, oh my God, cool. And then they buy the car, and then that's the last time you ever communicated with that person. What a freaking dumbass. Wouldn't you think that if they sent you their granddaughter, they'd probably send you more people as long as you watered their relationship? Every single person you come in contact with for the rest of your life, you're going to log them in your notes tab on your phone. So like Cullen meets Mike Vanbrill. And he goes, dude, this guy's a freaking badass. He puts your number in his notes. And then he puts a brief little summary of who you are. You know, D1 wrestler, absolute savage, works for Russell Brunson, right? And then he meets Jaden, and then Mike, and then freaking Austin, Ryan. And then pretty soon, like you start that, here's the thing. I'm a long-term player. Here's what I always say. The only thing I like more than today's money is tomorrow's money. You know what I mean? I'm a long-term player. That's what makes me dangerous. Is like, from my first month I walked in the LA group, I told the twins, told Danny, I told Steinberg, I said, I'm gonna beat all you guys. They said, no, you're not. You lying, dude. You ain't gonna beat me. I said, I'm gonna beat you guys, man. I've been nurturing, I've been prospecting, bro. Like, pipeline getting a little bit crazy, dog. And then last month, you know, last couple days of the month, bam, gapped everybody. Got a Rolex. They're like, how'd it happen? I said, the long game, bro. You know what I mean? So you start this process of building this network, and at first it's like kind of boring. But then what happens after time is you look back and you got 100 relationships, 100 in your notebook, right? Now watch how this, let's see how this empowers you, how this plays out. Cullen gets fired one day, right? Or he has a fallout at work and he like doesn't want to work for his boss anymore, so he goes and quits. Where's he gonna work? Well, he's been nurturing a relationship with Russell Brunson, right-hand man. Jaden's in solar making $100,000 a month. This guy owns a commercial roofing company. You know what I mean? Like, and you got 100 other names you can pick from, right? But you can only call on those people if you've actually got like some nurturing, some relationship there, right? So that's my thing. That's why I nurture everything. Like literally everybody I come in contact with, I always ask myself, am I positive or negative in this relationship bank account? Do I feel like I owe this person more value than what they've paid me at this point in our relationship? Or do I feel like I'm in the positive, I've been delivering a lot of value, and it's time for them to pay me? Does that make sense? So number 4 is gonna be personal brand. I was telling Jaden this earlier, bro. Personal brand is gonna be the great separator, bro, for everybody. It is going to be the great separator. You guys remember how we went and looked at the Lion's Den building? So the Lion's Den, that big ass building that's like a real tangible piece of real estate that's worth tens of millions of dollars. You know how we built that? You know what was able to finance all that? A YouTube channel and an Instagram page. That's where all our business comes from. Isn't that crazy? It all came from those 2 channels, right? So I'll tell you this, right? Like the brand I've been able to build in just like a year and a half, I'm really good at pattern recognition, right? So I can recognize a pattern. So I recognize, hey, I've got a small following, but this small following is paying me a lot of money. I'm like smart enough to realize I need to keep going. You see what I mean? So for me, I'll tell you like some things that have helped me a lot on social media. So remember how we talked about defining your story? I think if everybody walked out of here and like later tonight we do this dinner, everybody can tell their story in a fucking badass way, then I feel like you'll be one step closer to building a personal brand. Like if I was to help you with like branding or something, I would tell you to like figure out how to tell that story to where it yanks my heart out of my freaking chest. You see what I mean? And also, you know what's funny? Like the more you tell that story, the better you get at telling the story, the more empowered you'll feel when you tell somebody where you're from. Does that make sense? Like imagine if I just told you just heard my story, right? Imagine if I was like, oh man, I fucking left home and did some cocaine and now I'm here. You guys would be like, this guy's a freaking, what the fuck are you talking about, bro?
Still doing cocaine.
Yeah. But brand beliefs are super important. So like, let me explain to you like what a brand belief is. I've branded this word track. This is a belief. You guys notice, you hear what I said earlier where I said, the only thing I like more than today's money is tomorrow's money? You ever heard that anywhere else? No, that's my shit. I came up with that on my own. I like it. It's a true thing about me. I really do. So I've owned that shit. So like if you see my reels from now on, you hear me talking about that, like if I clip this up and post it, just know I'm trying to brand that belief because I want people out there to be like, man, you know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see one of you guys go back home and record yourself on a reel and go, you know what I like more than today's money? Tomorrow's money. Because I'll be like, that motherfucker is taking my brand. He's spreading my brand message. You know, how many people have you heard say six pack or you're fired? People comment it, people make videos. If I say future is bright, who is that? PBD. If I say six pack or you're fired, Andy Elliott. If I say one more, go one more, who's that? Ed Milet. If I say fucking real as fuck, Ultimate Rebellion. Who's that? You know what that means about those people? They got good fucking brands. Content-wise, I would say I don't give a fuck if there was a 12-year-old in here. I'd be like, dude, start making content. Just start making videos. The greatest thing I ever did was record myself speaking, you know? Because the first time I recorded myself speaking and I saw a video of me speaking, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? I was like, yo, turn that shit off. Who the fuck is that?
Who's that?
I was like this. Yeah, exactly. Brand. But I was like this. I was like, hey guys, what's going on? It's Brendan with Andy Elliott. I was like, dude, turn that fucking shit off now. But what happened over time was this, right? Now you see me. I'm fucking beyond comfortable in front of a camera. I don't give a fuck. And dude, you get to, like, the best way you want to get better at speaking, record yourself speaking. Like, I'd make that all your guys' goal. Start recording yourself speaking. I don't care how you do it. And dude, literally start posting content. You know, it's like, it's a big investment to some people, but it's not as big as like what it's going to cost you to not have a fucking brand. You know what I mean? Imagine if Andy was like, oh man, I'll post fucking videos next year. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy shit. So that's branding. And then I'll tell you the last one. And I'll get through this one quick. And I feel like I'll be able to address something that's going to help a lot of you guys out, okay? The last one's going to be investing, okay? So I'm not going to give you guys like a master class on investing because honestly, I do invest. I invest in three things. I've got my money in three things right now if you looked at my shit, okay? Number one, I do invest in real estate, okay? So I just want you to understand, like, you can buy real estate, but don't think it's going to make you rich overnight. It's a long-term play, right? Don't buy it if you're making $5,000 a month. That'd be pretty stupid to go buy a rental property that's going to make you $200 a month when you're making $5,000 a month. You know what I mean? I got a better place you could invest that money, okay? I'll tell you the greatest investment. You guys are going to think this is so corny. It is in yourself. That's the greatest investment you could ever make. I know you guys are like, gay, fuck you. Okay? What do you expect me to say? I'm just kidding. Invest in yourself, okay? Like, let's be real for a minute. So I probably this year will invest $80,000 into videography between him, a YouTube editor, freaking paying people, freelancers here and there, travel trips. Traveling, I'll probably spend another $100,000. I mean, you know, personal development overall, probably another 50 minimum. So like I'm probably $250,000 deep this year. You know, I'll probably go $250,000 deep in personal development and all these different things to reinvest in the business, you know? So like being in this room, badass. But yeah, dude, like literally the greatest investment I ever made. Like I spent $20,000 with Andy before I even started working here. Back when the highest ticket product was, you know, $5,000. I did end up signing up for Danny's couples mastermind. He pitched me. I ended up paying that other $4,900. But yeah, dude, I would just say that because, you know, like literally after sitting down with Tommy and all these other guys, other entrepreneurs, this is what they told me. They said, look, if you're going to invest in something that's completely passive, it's going to be real estate or it's going to be the S&P 500. But they said your best bet is going to be yourself and businesses, buying businesses, right? So the way like what I interpreted with all that information was I'm going to max out my active income and then I'm going to buy real estate. I'm going to buy a little bit on the S&P 500 every once in a while whenever I got extra cash. But I'm going to invest like a motherfucker into the S&P 500. You know what I'm saying? Until my active income is ridiculous. Until people are like, how the fuck can someone make that much money in a month, bro? That shit's insane. You know what I'm saying? So mindset, sales, relationships, branding, investing. Was that good shit? Does that help you guys out? Let's go. Let's get it.